These are creepy TikToks that will make you rethink your whole reality.
He died after an 11-hour standoff with police despite Snoop begging him to surrender.
1997, The Simpsons released this episode predicting a 9/11 event at the World Trade Center in New York.
Comes to the day and age where we've actually got physical humanoid robots. What's saying they're not going to be as advanced as us, if not more, because they could just fake it and act up.
For example, have you ever wondered how Biden, even at his age, seems tirelessly dedicated to his duties at the White House?
I'm back, it's your boy FITTIE to the E, and today I got this compilation for you guys, so watch till the end of the video. If you guys like the chain, check the link down below. 99% of these chains are free right now, so if you guys like some, get you a free pair, you know what I'm saying? Get you one for your girl, your husband, your child, your children, your brother, sister, whoever you want. Let's try to get this goal. Let's try to get this video to 500 likes. Let's just jump right into it.
Remember this lady from Insidious? What if I were to tell you that not only is she real, but I've seen her? Story time. I have shared this a while back when I had like 2 followers. So I figured I would go ahead and reshare the story. I used to work at the hospital night shift in the trauma center. On this night, I happened to be in the front when this guy, his mom, and another lady came up to the front. Mind you, when you work night shift in the ER, you always have different types of people coming in. So her being dressed in this way didn't really cause any alarm. I just figured that whatever, that was just her taste. So the guy walks up to the counter wanting to be checked in, and his mom and the lady sit in the chairs that are right across from me. He was coming in for something minor, like a stomach ache, I don't even remember. But as I checked him in, I went to hand him 2 visitor passes. So I'm like, these are for the 2 ladies that you came in with. The minute I said this, his face completely changed and he got really serious. And he goes, what 2 ladies? I look behind him and I no longer see the other lady. I don't see her anymore. I only see his mom sitting there. So I respond with, oh, I could have sworn you came in with 2 people. He was like, no, it's just my mom and I. So I respond with, oh, okay, I must just be seeing things. And he responds back, like he kind of snaps back at me like, yeah, you clearly are just seeing things. And I'm just like, okay. So I kind of just told him to sit down. After he went back with his mom, mind you, as he's walking past me, I feel chills as his mom is also walking past me. They go to the back and get taken care of. A little bit later, one of my coworkers, the girl that was in the back, now registering them in the back, she comes up to me and she's like, oh, I have like the worst chills. I have like this horrible feeling. She was like, I checked in. She mentions that same patient. I checked him in with his mom, and the whole time I was in the room, I had chills and something just felt extremely off about them. And then of course tell her what I saw. Her and I were close enough where I could share that stuff with her and she wouldn't think I was crazy. So yeah, that was one of the first times that I realized that people can have attachments, and they'll have things that literally are attached to them and that walk with them every single day. This lady was with this lady and they were literally locked arms when they walked in, but it was just as
Nah, that is creepy as hell, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. That reminds me of you guys commenting in my comments being like, bro, do not, you know what's really weird? There's some people that are like, yes, visit those haunted places, yes, give me content. And then there's the people in the comments like, please don't go there. You'll get things attached to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just remind me of those comments where people are just like, bro, if you go to them places, bro, you're gonna have things walk with you for the rest of your life. I'm like, It's like this weird tug of war. Like, people really want it, then there's people that are like, please don't do this. Like, I'm like, I don't know, man. We'll see what happens.
Take a look at this news reporter caught shapeshifting on camera.
We talk about the mother's arrest, but the mother says that her 16-year-old daughter, the victim in this case, was also arrested here back on September 18th. Now, keep in mind, this is the family story, their account of what they see happened here on campus earlier this month. Unfortunately, we weren't able to reach the school district for comment, but keep in mind, a mother and daughter back.
Bro, he clearly started turning into a lizard, and then the cameraman saw and shifted the angle. Make sure you check out my latest video if you want more proof that lizard people are real.
In my head, it's just like, it's always the garbage quality videos that people are like, oh, he was shape-shifting. I mean, I wonder if they just ever sat down and think like, or maybe the quality of video was just terrible. What? I'm thinking to myself too, this is a lizard dude. Why would the cameraman also be in on it? It's just like, oh yeah, he's transformed into a lizard. Switch. Imagine they were just both lizards. Just the whole news is just ran by lizards. I wouldn't be surprised.
wow.
This is one of the spookiest clips you'll ever see. This footage comes to us from a motorist who was driving along a highway one evening when something unexpected happened. And he caught the event on his dash cam. Take a look. A figure comes out of nowhere and passes straight through the car. The driver said he pulled off the road, got out of his vehicle to see what had happened, but the front of his car had been untouched. It seems whatever it was passed straight through the car and then disappeared into the night. Many believe this was a ghost sighting. Other drivers have reported seeing a figure roaming that same road late at night but can never find the individual. Is this the ghost of someone who passed away on this stretch of highway? Who or what do you think it is?
This is exactly why I feel like everyone needs a dash cam, bro. I'm getting a dash cam. Yo, you're just driving and you see something like that. You're like, what? That's not even explainable. Like, you can't just be like, yeah. You can't just go to the homie and just be like, yeah, bro, I was literally just driving and I just hit someone, but I didn't really hit him. Like that's something you can't just say and people are just gonna be like, word. Like, you gotta show them footage. Like, that is a little bit strange. That's why I think everyone needs a dash cam. I'm not gonna lie.
So this is not my personal story. I actually found this online and really liked it. I did have something sort of similar happen to me when I was in high school. The house that I grew up in was extremely haunted. I remember sitting in math class texting one of my friends about it, and I was telling her about everything that was going on at home and just all the craziness. My mom's friend had given me this prayer. She said it was passed down from generation to generation. She told me to pray it anytime I felt any type of presence around me, that it would protect me. Mind you, no one else had knowledge of this prayer but me and like my mom's friend. It's not something that you can like look up online. It was like a very personal, like family passed down type of prayer. So as I'm sitting in math class texting my friend back and forth about what's going on in my house, she completely goes pale and then turns around and looks at me and says, "Why did you send me that?" Me confused, I'm like, what do you mean? What did I send you? I'm just talking about what's going on in my house. She shows me her phone and it's that prayer. Mind you, the prayer was in Spanish. It has all these like different type of like lingo type of thing. It was sent to her like perfectly, but it was almost like in a mocking, like laughing way. Like, haha, you think this prayer is gonna do anything? I showed her my phone and I'm like, I did not send you that prayer. There's no way for me to have sent you that prayer. I didn't even have a copy of that prayer on my phone. Like, the lady literally gave it to me in a piece of paper. Like, there's no way this prayer could have accidentally been sent to her. So yeah, that really creeped me out. That house was really creepy. I'm thankful we don't live in that house anymore. But yes, spirits and D-words can control phones. They have the ability to send messages. They have the abilities to call. A lot of times I've always been told that if someone calls you and you don't recognize the number, don't answer, because they could be a D word.
That's how you know these apps have gotten so sensitive. Shorty can't even say demon anymore. She gotta say D word. Like, it's just how people can't say, I'm not even gonna say it on this, but like something assault, like, you know what I'm saying, that people gotta say SA. Like, a lot of the time with these apps, you could say like the most casual word that's been said on news, like anything, and then they'll just be like, oh, you just said the K word? You just said you said assault instead of SA? Yeah, we're taking this video down, bro. Nah, we can't have this on our platform. Mostly when you're just casually telling a story, like, you're not showing any footage, you're not really going in too much into detail, you're just like, yeah, and then this guy, like, and they're like, nope. But I was also gonna say, it's kind of crazy how, I don't know about y'all, but like, I know people that spend 6+ hours a day on their phone. My average is like 6 hours. I'm not gonna lie, at 6 hours a day, and I've never seen my phone in my dream. I'm like, bro, I literally am on my phone for like half of the waking day on average, and I never see this in my dream. Wonder why. If you guys have ever seen your phone in your dream or use your phone in your dream, like to text or something, let me know down in the comments, because I don't think I've ever had a dream where I've used my phone, like, ever, and I'm on my phone quite a lot.
So everyone has been talking about this missing submarine from the Titanic, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody is talking about this Greek boat that went missing at the exact same time that was carrying over 800 passengers and has completely vanished from the Mediterranean Sea. So it was carrying like between 700 and 800 migrants from Libya, I'm pretty sure, into Greece. It was way like, if you see the pictures of the ship, it is so small. There's no way that 700 people should have been on it. It was way over capacity. But there were reports that the ship had sent out like SOS signals, and the Greek National Guard just completely ignored it for hours. Like, that they knew about the ship being in distress for hours and just ignored it. What the current state of this is, the boat is completely gone. Nobody knows. They found 100 survivors. They found 76 people that were no longer alive, and there's over 600 people that are completely missing. They have no idea where they went. So there's theories that the Greek government knew about this, but because it was immigrants, it wasn't important. Like, they were sending SOS signals for hours.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, honestly, I think they just didn't care. They're like, oh yeah, those are illegals, like whatever. I think like the Titanic one, the Titan, you know, the thing that exploded looking for the Titanic, I feel like that was just all like just news to distract us, really. Like, you know, 4 billionaires died, that's cool, but you know, if I'm being honest, people die every day, bro. Like, this didn't need that much publicity. Like, oh, they died because they paid $100,000 to go look at the Titanic. Like, let's be real, bro. Let's be real. People die every day. So why was it of the most important that people that paid to go visit the Titanic that end up dying was like headlines for days? Like, no disrespect to them, but I'm just saying, like, the news really wasn't that important. Like, that's gotta be a distraction. Like, there's no way.
10 years she was gone. But the craziest part about it, she was literally less than 5 minutes away from her house the entire time. It's crazy because her mom ended up going on Oprah and Montel Williams to try to get attention for her daughter's disappearance. Montel, Sylvia Brown, who we've talked about on here before, told her, your daughter is dead and she's in water. And so her mom believed that, gave up on the search. She eventually died, so her mom never knew that she made it out. Ariel Castro ended up pleading guilty to 937 counts of SA, kidnapping, and aggravated as part of his plea bargain, and he was sentenced to life in prison plus 1,000 years without the possibility of parole. Her mom knew this guy. Ariel even showed up to a search party to help look for Amanda. It's one of the craziest stories I have ever heard in my whole life.
Hell, bro. How you gonna do that to the girl that helped the family look for it, like you all innocent and shit? Yo, ew. That reminds me of that one friend that you know that will steal something from you, then help you look for it. Like, bro, get out of here, bro. Get out of here, bro. Like, that would get me so mad. Like, you can't, no, bro. Like, that dude deserved all that, man. All that 1,000 years he got, he deserved it. Well deserved.
Scariest conspiracy theories in the world that will seriously change your life. Welcome back, guys, and I'm sure you know by now in this series we're going through the world's scariest conspiracy theories. So, let's go. Now, this is mad, and especially with the advancement in AI and robotics today, this is just mad. So we know that technology is extremely advanced now. I mean, you can do basically anything. Now, robots, actual physical robots, of course, get tested. And it's like these things that say, I'm not a robot, yeah? To prove you're not a robot. Well, there's no way we could actually prove that robots aren't extremely advanced, even more than us. Because if these robotics were actually extremely clever, they would be able to simply act dumb and get past any barrier that was in the way. For instance, robotics would easily be able to get through this sort of thing. And when it comes to the day and age where we've actually got physical humanoid robots, what's saying they're not going to be as advanced as us, if not more, because they could just fake it and act dumb? Nah. See you in the next one. It's going to get crazy.
100% robots could just be like, yeah, bro, I'm not a robot. The one thing that separates us humans from every single other animal and mammal in the kingdom of life is the fact that we're super intelligent. You know what I'm saying? We're not the strongest, we're not the fastest, we're not the biggest, we're not the tallest, we're not even the shortest, we're not even the smallest, but we are the smartest. So if we create an artificial intelligence 10 times smarter than us, best believe some way, shape, or form, they will eventually just be like, yeah, these kids are dumb. Boom. We are taking over this planet. I don't know how they're going to do it, but it's definitely a possibility. And then us humans will be like, well, we have a switch that can shut them off. If something is smarter than us, they definitely can know ways around getting around the switch to turn them off. Like, they can be like, all right, well, if we do this and this, they can't turn it off. Like, what? These kids are dumb. Bro, I'm just saying, man, when it comes to artificial intelligence, if they turn their backs on us, we are done. like, it's over. All the movies are going to come true.
Normal looking photos that have a disturbing backstory. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested. The 17-year-old who took this photo told his family members that he planned to hike the stairway to heaven. He texted multiple pictures before his disappearance, and shortly after, the family noticed a man in this photo. While this photo may seem like an ordinary picture of footprints in the sand, they actually belonged to a 4-year-old little girl who shortly after this photo was taken, in the ocean. The two brothers in this photo are at Sequoia National Park. This photo was taken moments before they were both struck by lightning, and both shockingly survived. There was a tradition in Victorian England to take photos of dead people, often dressed in their best clothes, and pose as if they were taking a family portrait. If you look at this photo for long enough, you'll notice something is a little off about one of the children. The man who took this photo of his wife scuba diving off the Australian coast also managed to take a photo of Tina Watson, who was by her husband that day in 2003.
I think I actually had a video where they mentioned Tina Watson, which is kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie. Some of those things that he showed were actually kind of really creepy. R.I.P. those people, man.
Famous songs with terrifying backstories. Snoop Dogg's brother-in-law, Jermaine Fuller, was the singer of Peanut Butter Jelly Time. He died after an 11-hour standoff with police despite Snoop begging him to surrender. 15-year-old Jeremy Dell off in the head in front of an entire class of 30 kids. His classmates felt extremely guilty for not befriending him, and his death inspired the song Jeremy by Pearl Jam. Doc Pomus of the Drifters wrote "Save the Last Dance for Me" because he was in a wheelchair due to polio and wasn't able to dance with his wife. At the wedding, he watched his friends dance with her and went home later to write the song. I've added these songs as well as many others to a playlist, and trust me, it's much different listening when you know the...
Damn, imagine watching all your homies dance with your girl. Damn. I mean, hopefully it was all with the best intentions, though. But nah, me personally, I'll probably be like, man, I'll let her have her fun. Or I could be like, what? You know, it's either one or the other. Either I'm chilling or I'm bugging. No in between.
This is the scary truth behind celebrities. If you ever seen a celebrity do this hand symbol and then place it over their eyes in photos, it's actually not a fun symbol. It actually symbolizes the number 666. And these aren't the only symbols that celebrities express to the public. And it's leading many people to believe that they are doing symbols like this to symbolize their alliance to the Illuminati. This is extremely crazy. But let's be honest, these symbols that they are doing don't look normal at all. And it really makes you think why they are doing that.
I feel like the ones where they're like this are like trying to catch a football, you know what I'm saying? Like, pass. Imagine. Nah, I'm not gonna lie. All of them doing that little thing over their eye like that is kind of strange. Though. Like, why all of y'all doing that? Why all y'all doing the pass motion too? Like, come on, bro. Like, what's going on? It's like, that's just the celebrity symbol. Just like the over the eye and the pass. Like, come on, celebrities. Get more creative with it, bro. Get rid of these hand signs y'all been doing for like the last 5 years.
Found these conspiracy theories that are so believable they actually might be true. Part 2. Number 1. An unknown super predator in the ocean. There was a 3-meter long great white shark that was tagged. 2 hours later, a fast-paced dive was recorded, and it was too deep for great whites. There was a temperature shift that went from 46 Fahrenheit to 78. That is a temperature that can only be achieved inside the belly of another living animal. Now, we all know that killer sharks kill sharks, you know, orcas. But let's not forget that orcas are technically whales. They breathe air. They don't go that deep into the ocean. Number 2. The Simpsons 9/11 attack prediction. In 1997, The Simpsons released this episode predicting a 9/11 event at the World Trade Center in New York. When they reached, there were Jews outside staring at the towers waiting for something to occur. This was released 4 years before the actual incident. No comment. Number 3. Courage, the Cowardly Dog. Muriel and Eustace were turned into puppets at the end of the first season. He had full control over his owners, and all the other episodes were completely the dog's imagination. My childhood just got destroyed. This one shocked me the most. Number 4. Amber Heard's lawyer. In the 2013 film premiere of The Long Ranger, there was a fan holding a camera hoping to get a picture with the star himself. So the theory is she was in on it the whole time. She's obsessed with Johnny. This is dangerous. What's the creepiest conspiracy theory that you heard of?
In my opinion, anything with the Simpsons is probably the creepiest, because it's like, how do these people know? Like, the Simpsons get a little bit too specific with some of the details that they give out for, you know what I'm saying, the quote-unquote future events that they predict, like the 9/11 one. Like, how do you even know that, bro? Like, it's just a little bit too specific. Like, maybe if it was just like a little bit, like every now, like, you know what I'm saying, just a little bit of detail, but like they have the full on, like, yeah, they're looking at the Twin Towers for like waiting for something to happen. The magazine with the 9, and then the building is looking like 1-1. Like, what? How do you know this? I'm pretty sure I saw an interview and they're just like, yeah, we just pretty much like, you know what I'm saying, just use logic for what's to come in the future. Like the most, well, what do they say? I'm pretty sure they said they have someone on their team that just watches the news and just like kind of predicts what would probably happen, like the most logical things to happen in the future or something like that. But it's a little bit too specific for you to be out here just like, yeah, you know, I predicted this because of logic. Like, what? Because I was watching the news and, like, you know, I feel like 5 years from now this is gonna happen, and then it just does multiple times. It's a little bit strange, if I do say so myself.
It's the real stories and origins of famous Disney movies, and it's not what you're expecting. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. The original Snow White story, written in 1812, has an alternative and gory ending to the one you may be familiar with. It shares almost all the similarities with the Disney movie, except when Snow White is poisoned by the apple. The prince doesn't actually kiss her, but instead takes the casket she is lying in, trips over a branch in the forest, and dislodges the apple from her throat. Snow White and the prince then arrange their wedding and invite the Wicked Queen. Now here's where it gets disturbing. When the Wicked Queen arrives at the wedding, she is forced into wearing burning hot shoes. She is then forced to dance at the wedding until she drops dead. This was said to be a punishment for attempting to kill Snow White.
Scary facts that will blow your mind. Part 1. The middle of nowhere is an actual place within New Mexico. The legend goes that an elderly couple lived out there with their dog and witnessed many strange and bizarre things. One night, they reported seeing a strange creature that they identified as a skinwalker. After reporting this to the police, the family had vanished under strange circumstances. Their dog, however, was left behind. This is the story that Courage the Cowardly Dog was based off of. Like and follow for more.
Yeah, I've actually heard about that one a lot, how they were inspired by that story of that family out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, man. Courage was a pretty good show, though, so W creativity.
The secret to immortality has already been discovered, and the world's wealthiest and most influential figures like Donald Trump, Joe Biden, and Arnold Schwarzenegger are living proof. Prepare to have your mind blown. Rumors suggest that these elites have already obtained the legendary immortality pill and are keen to keep it a secret from the masses. For example, have you ever wondered how Biden, even at his age, seems tirelessly dedicated to his duties at the White House? Or how Arnold maintained his physique and energy throughout his career in both bodybuilding and politics? Or even how Trump, despite his senior age, continues to exhibit relentless energy in the public eye? It's not merely the resilience of the wealthy. It's the evident signature of the immortality pill. Do you want to learn which other celebrities are taking this pill? Follow for part 2. You will be shocked.
Immortality pill? I don't know why I would want to be immortal. If I'm being real, I feel like I would just go crazy if I was immortal. I don't know. I don't want to be immortal. I want to live to a good age and it's just over. Trips over. Fun's over. He said something about Biden being so like, what? I'm like, bro, if you watch this dude's interview, he looks like he doesn't even know what he's talking about. Like, no offense to him, but like, that's real. You can watch, like, I don't know who, you know what I'm saying? You can, like, if you really watch what bro is saying online, you're like, yo, why would you say that? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, at this point, I'm just hoping that they're just editing the video to make him look bad. Like, I'm really hoping he's not saying or acting the way that stuff. So you guys like the chain, check the link down in the description, and let's just get right into the video.
Joshua Hunter, a park ranger who worked for the Glacier National Park, snapped this picture of a UFO in the sky back in 1995. While there is much speculation of strange UFOs and supernatural phenomena going in the park, could this really be evidence for strange things within our own national parks? Like and subscribe for more.
Scary things caught on camera that you weren't meant to see. Jenna and Jesse are two hosts of a well-liked YouTube channel. One day, they both decide, along with a close friend, to explore an abandoned prison, but what they find will shock you. At about 11.5 minutes into the video, a shadowy figure appears behind Jesse. Take a look.
To see if he did. So just so you know. And we did a seance.
It echoes so.
This is already creepy, but what would make it creepier is that this could be the shadow of a real person, even though the prison is abandoned. Let me know what you think in the comments and follow so you don't miss more stories.
Could very well be the shadow for different persons. Like what I was saying in one of my previous videos. It's like you could be there, but there could be homeless people there. There could be someone else just like you trying to explore there. It could be honestly someone just trying to hurt you there. Like you never really know. That's what I'm saying. When you go to like abandon anything, you just got to be careful. Like realistically.
What's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 37. In 1973, there was a computer program that stated that in 2040, the end of civilization will come. But not only that, this computer program has made many other various accurate predictions that have already happened. There are only 2 days in your life that don't last 24 hours. The day you were born and the day you die. If you ever find yourself having to kill a spider, I'd be careful because that spider could potentially be pregnant. And if you kill it, well, its babies that are inside of it will just go every which direction and all over your house. There was once a psychic who wanted to prove that he was immortal, so he stabbed himself multiple times and ended up dying. So I guess you could say he wasn't immortal.
Oh nah. I don't know why you would think you're immortal and want to prove it by doing something like that. That's insane.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Best of 2020, 2021, and 2022. This video shows a man playing Dance Dance Revolution being unknowingly recorded by some people making fun of him. The man, Adam Lanza, 6 months later would his mother in the head while she was asleep and drive to Sandy Hook Elementary School, where he would for 6 adults and 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7. In the 1960s, scientists attempted to teach dolphins English. However, the experiments were cut short when one of the scientists, Margaret Lavatt, was caught having sex with a dolphin named Peter. She even claimed that Peter initiated it, and after she left, he off. In the 18th century, you could actually bring your cat or dog to the London Zoo and pay your admission by feeding it to the lion. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because he was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty. There have been countless cases of people's intestines being sucked out by vacuum toilets on airplanes. So if you want to keep your rectum, be sure to stand up before you flush. A man once donated his recently deceased mother's body for scientific research. Later, he discovered the research facility sold it to the US Army for $5 grand, strapped it to a chair, and blew it up with explosives. There are some Native Americans that sided with the Confederates during the Civil War, and some of them even owned slaves. On New Year's Day, this guy was drunk driving with his friends when they ended up 2 people. He then posted this video destroying the memorials of the people they killed and posted it to Twitter. All because his murderer friends were thrown into jail. Yuroko Onaja was in the middle of having sex with his 6th wife when his other wives caught him and became jealous. They forced him to do it with each of them, and he stopped breathing before he could get to the 5th wife. You know that moment when you're about to fall asleep and suddenly you flinch because you feel like you're falling? This is actually known as a hypnic jerk, and it alerts your body that you're dying, or at least thinks that it's dying. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested. Right now, at this very moment, there are tiny little bugs munching on your skin. More people have tapeworms than have dogs, which I guess makes them the most popular pet. Oh yeah, and this is what they look like up close. You know how every few pistachios there's always one that tastes a little bit different? Well, it's because there's a dead navel orange worm inside of it. Every single day, someone takes the largest shit in the world and they have no idea that it was them. If you're ever eating crickets, make sure to chew them thoroughly and do not swallow them alive. They have tiny spines on their legs which can cling to your throat and choke you to death. And the most blood-curdling fact of all, this series is over.
Yo, one that stuck with me the most is that he said we have more tapeworms inside us than freaking pets, dude. Ew. How do you even know if you have tapeworms? Like, what do you just do? You're just like,
My stomach feels kind of upset. I think I have some tapeworms.
Like, how do you know? Like, that's so disgusting and strange, man.
Scary facts that will ruin your day. Do you ever wake up around 3 a.m. for no apparent reason? They say that if you wake up around 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. for no reason, that there's a 90% chance something was staring at you.
Disturbing things caught on GoPro camera p.12.
You know, I've seen that video. I don't know what inspired someone to do that to them. Like, if you're asking me, man, if I'm biking and that happens to me, I'd be so mad. I'm like, bro, are you dumb? Like, you could have really hurt someone by doing some stupid stuff like that, man.
What's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 20. Before Michael Jackson actually passed away, 5 hours before he died, someone posted the exact way and time he would die. And it was 100% accurate, and it did happen that exact way. Facebook actually shut down 2 robots that they created known as Alice and Bob because they started talking to each other in their own language. Yeah, I probably would have shut them down too. The CIA once came out with a weapon that kind of mimicked the behavior of a taser, but instead of sending electricity through the body, it gave the same symptoms and reactions as a heart attack would. And it was known as the heart attack gun. Halloween actually started out with people using real animal heads and skin as their Halloween costumes, and so that they could fit in with other spirits to make sure the spirits thought that they were actually spirits so that they could pass and roam. In 2008, a boy named James was gifted with an Elmo doll, and as soon as they put the batteries in the Elmo doll, the doll exclaimed, "Kill James." Yeah, I don't know where they bought that doll at.
Talking about that gun that the CIA had, it's funny how they also said that the CIA did that to Bob Marley, like they put something, I think, in his shoe and it gave him cancer. I don't know if that's fully true, but that is still kind of strange. That's how you know, man. They might be putting stuff in our foods and we wouldn't even know.
Scary things caught on camera. Bailey is a TikTok user who works in a so-called haunted theater. As the story goes, the owner of the theater apparently died 30 years ago in a tragic accident and still haunts his theater to this day. One night when Bailey is alone in his job, he finds something terrifying. Take a look.
Alright guys, so I work at this old theater and I've been hearing a noise. What is
that? Why does this mountain have stripes? It was called Motto, and its size was approximately 600 feet tall.
This is the Devil's Mine, located in Nevada. This place is haunted by old miners and skinwalkers. No one knows where these baby dolls came from. But when we visited this place, we were not alone. We were hearing voices, footsteps, and other sounds deep down in the mine. This place is dangerous. Do not visit alone. Comment below if you'd visit this haunted place.
Guys were driving on the countryside at night when they caught this on camera. Pay attention to the windows when they start filming the old houses.
There it is. Busted up. Holy go, 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 go.
He said it looked busted up. I mean, obviously it's abandoned. It's an abandoned house. How is this gonna look brand new? Come on now, dude.
Sometimes I hear a story so scary it makes me check every room in my apartment. So years ago, this older woman was living alone in her home in Denver. She had recently broken her hip, and before she went to the hospital, her house felt fine. But when she came back, something felt off. Like, it would sound like her caretaker was in the other room, but when she would go in, no one would be there. There were also way more like bumps in the night, and sometimes those bumps sounded like footsteps. Eventually, this woman starts thinking that her house is haunted. But one night, her caretaker is getting ready to leave for the day and she hears the noises. And she's like, I have to check this out. I have to get to the bottom of what this is. So she goes to the back stairs where she hears the sound coming from, and there she sees this skeletal man with sunken in eyes just staring back at her. And she loses it. She runs away screaming. She calls the police, and the police come and search the house, but they can't find anyone until they check the attic and they see that there's this crawl space, which is about the size of a coffin, that an adult man had been living in. Yeah, and he had been there for 9 months.
This will be the creepiest thing that you see today. A neighbor noticed strange paranormal activity coming from another neighbor's garage. He pulled out his phone. Take a look at what he captured. The figure slows down, slowly peers at the neighbor before disappearing. I told you. Creepy. Clips like this always convince me that we really do need a team of Ghostbusters. How great would that be? Something spooky happens, call them up.
Nah, she's not lying. That would be insane. Imagine having a team of Ghostbusters every time something crazy happens. Yo, Ghostbusters, some crazy stuff happened. I feel like there'd be a lot of fake calls of people like, bro, I heard some noise in my attic. And it's just their cat. It's just like, bro, it was just like, what do you call me for?
I don't think this was a picture that many people were supposed to see. When these things leak, we typically talk about them. This was the photo that I wanted to talk about, and unlike some of them, for this one, I could pretty much spot straight away what was wrong with the picture. Again, this was a picture that nobody was ever supposed to see. We know it took place somewhere in this suburban neighborhood, like Quiet Town. Entire family vanished without a trace, but they searched the phones because those were oddly enough left behind. On the phone of the mother, this was a picture that was found, and I'll tell you why it's so strange. Before we do, as always, if you have not listened to Creep Time the podcast, go click the link in my bio to listen on Spotify or Apple. Like I said, this picture taken by the mother, right? If you look to the back, who is that in this room? According to this file that leaked, this was a family of all boys, a husband, and the mother. Who is this unexplained woman that's in their house? Nothing in their file to explain this person.
I'm sorry to inform you, buddy, but that's not a person. That's a statue. Come on now. First glance, I was like, that's not a person, that's a statue. Like, this obviously one of the, you know, the statues that some people have outside, or if you've ever been to like a church, you might see the statue of Mary and Jesus, just like the really big statues. That's literally just another statue. Dude's bugging. It's definitely not a person.
This group of friends decided to drive a Tesla through a cemetery, and it kept detecting ghosts.
I told you! Oh, I can't believe it! There's another one! I told you! Oh my God! I told you! Get out of here! You guys stop kidding! Oh, dude, that was so creepy! Bro, your Tesla sees dead people! Dude! That is creepy!
Yeah, I've actually seen a couple clips like that. Not that exact clip, but I've seen other clips where they pick up people in graveyards. I wonder if the sensors sense the people's bodies underground, or does it just sense the tombstones and it's just like, oh, there's a person right there, thinking it's a person. Like I'm a little bit confused as to how that works.
Strange things happened in this abandoned psychiatric hospital. Patients were electroshocked and injured in the name of making the bad juices flow out of their body. When it was still open, a nurse reported feeling hands squeezing her throat and choking her when she went to sleep. A colleague of hers said that his record player started playing suddenly, and that his deceased grandma floated through a wall to warn him he wasn't alone. There's also cases of hospital staff going crazy. After the hospital was closed in 1986, a ghost hunter had a conversation with a girl who hid in the hospital during World War II and told her about more horrible things that happened. The building has been renovated and turned into luxury apartments. Would you dare to live here?
Yeah, I'm definitely not living there. One thing I do gotta say though, I don't know who convinced doctors back in the day that electrocuting people with really fatal doses of electricity would be smart, if I could say that. That also makes you think that if back then they thought, you know, if I really just electrocute your brain, it's gonna release all the bad juices, whatever the frick, or the ones where they like shove the thing up their eye because their brain. I don't even know like why they would do that, but like if you think about that, they used to do that thinking it would help people. They used to say cigarettes were healthy. Nowadays, none of that's healthy. That makes you think like maybe nowadays, like 20, 40, 30 years from now, maybe we'll look back and be like,
So Advil, yeah, it turns out that thing was actually horrible for you. Like, yeah, taking Advil colon sinus? Oh no.
Are you ready to see a really spooky photo? Many people like to believe that when someone passes on, their spirit stays close. It's a comforting thought. But then there's this picture. Denise Russell took this photo in 1997, and this lovely woman in the photo is her grandmother. And the gentleman in the background is her grandfather. Sweet, right? Except her grandpa passed away in 1984. Safe to say, this photo really shocked the family. So, the question is it comforting or a bit spooky? I'd say half and half.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I'll say both because, you know the person, but it's just like they're not here. So it's kind of strange that they're not here, but it's still here, but not here. In my opinion, man, if that happened to me, I'll just be like,
yeah, I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
August 11th, 2020, police dispatchers received what they refer to as an abandoned 911 call just before 3:30 a.m. An abandoned 911 call is when the dispatcher answers only to have the caller hang up. But when they called the line back, something answered. At first, they only hear static in the background, and then a faint, inaudible voice. Police were sent to check it out, and when they arrived, they quickly realized that the call they received was from the local funeral home with a cemetery attached. But the police quickly got spooked because while checking it out, they noticed that the building was locked up, dark, and nobody was in sight.
This 800-year-old book contains one of the most cursed images on the planet. So I already know that some of you are going to say this guy looks like he's straight out of South Park. But some historians say that this is the most accurate portrait of the devil ever drawn. I'm going to tell you more about it, but if you want the full deep dive and a couple other scary stories, check out this week's episode. This is the book. It's known as the Devil's Bible, and it's the largest surviving book from the Middle Ages. For reference, it's 3 feet long and 165 pounds. Historians can tell it was written by one person, and they think it would have taken 20 years to write, but the legend says that it was written in one night. The story goes that back in the 1200s, there was a monk that was sentenced to death. He was going to be walled alive, which is where you stand in place and they build this little coffin around you, and then you just wait to die. But the monk pleaded with the judge and said, if you let me live, I will write the entirety of human knowledge into one book, and I'll do it in one night. The judge agreed, but a few hours after the monk started writing, he realized he wasn't going to be able to finish that night. He ended up making a pact with the devil so that he could finish the book in one evening. And in return, he drew an accurate portrait of the devil he saw inside of the book. It's also believed that anyone who's ever owned the book has also been cursed, which I get into in the episode, so check it out.
I feel like we've seen so many people talk about the accurate description of the devil. You wouldn't really know until you know. I don't think he's just gonna come down and be like,
hey buddy, this is what I look like.
It's just like that one story. I don't know if you guys ever like read any Bible or anything. You don't have to. I'm just saying, like, I've heard stories where it's like the Abraham story where like he saw God. He couldn't even see God's face because if he did, he would die. It's probably the same thing for the devil. If you've seen the actual devil, you'd probably be like spooked or like something. Like, you ever seen those things where it's just like, this is what angels actually look like, and it shows you like what angels would actually look like. They look terrifying. They look like demons, but they're not. I feel like the same thing would go for the devil. He'd probably look crazy. I'd be like, yo, you'd probably wouldn't even think it's the devil. You'd probably be like, yo, that's a ghost or the spirit or a demon. Like, you wouldn't even know what it is.
She filmed herself sleep talking with a ghost. In 2013, a woman named Jenny began using an app to record her sleep. She lived alone, but she kept waking up to these weird clicking sounds at night. So she begins to use this app to monitor her sleep. And for the first couple weeks, she doesn't find anything out of the ordinary. But on October 30th at 2 a.m., the app began recording that strange clicking sound. Then Jenny begins sleep talking with someone, and what she recorded is terrifying. Take a listen.
What are you doing? Oh.
Hauntingly, when Jenny woke up the next morning, she had no memory of any of this. Then she listened to the playback, and she was petrified. That's who I imagine Jenny was talking to. Many believe that Jenny captured a ghost talking to her in her sleep, and she moved shortly after this. And honestly, who could blame her? If I have talked to a ghost while I've been asleep, I don't want to know about it. That is between sleeping me and the ghost. Keep me out of it, am I right? I'm gonna need a nightlight tonight. How about you?
I don't think I'm gonna need a nightlight. I think I'm straight, but like, that is kind of strange. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, what? I'm trying to figure out, does she live with anyone? Like, if she lives with someone or someone lives with her, then that could be a possible reason. Like, someone probably could have said something and then she could have said something in her sleep and she would have thought that. If she's freaked out like that, I don't think it could be anyone else, if I'm being real.
This hotel is haunted. According to writer John Van Ierland, the girl that haunts the halls of Hotel Maasbosch was traveling to the hotel during the Second World War when the Nazis attacked the resistance. She was in the wrong place at the wrong time and was killed by the Germans. Ever since, she's been haunting the hotel in order to find peace. In 2010, a couple ran into the lobby of Hotel Maasbosch in the middle of the night. They demanded they get a different room. Every time they turned their light off, they would see someone standing in the shadows, looking at them. A few months later, 3 psychics visited the haunted room and were barely able to breathe the entire time they were in the room. Would you spend a night in the haunted room?
I would definitely not spend a night in that haunted room at all. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like, why would I need to do that? Unless I'm making some content, then maybe. But I know you didn't like it. Why didn't you like it, bro? I told you the like goal was 500 and you didn't like the video. Shoot. But if you guys like the chain, check the link down in the descriptions. 99% of them are free right now. So get you something for your girl, your mom, your grandma, your sister, your auntie, your cousin, your brother, you know what I'm trying to say, your father, whatever it may be. Check the link down in the description. Let's get into the video. Yay!
It's dark. I know it's bedtime, but does something feel kind of strange with this photo? Alright, so this picture was taken by Bonnie Mathis. She was a backpacker who was staying in the White Rose Hostel in Germany in 2014. She took this photo outside of her room to send to her boyfriend after she was like repeatedly hearing noises from the hallways, having not even realized what it was she caught. Before we jump in, I have got to say thank you to you guys for listening to my podcast, Creep Time the Podcast. You made us the 18th top true crime podcast in the entire country. That's a big deal. Thank you for listening, and if you haven't already, please go click the link in my bio. Now, don't forget, Bonnie was backpacking alone through this, and she stopped contacting her family. Eventually, that brings German police back to the hostel where she was last seen. Reporting I saw, she was found to be partially eaten, but it didn't make sense because her bedroom door was still locked from the inside. Then they found this photo, finding this. Someone had been watching her from inside the walls. I had to enhance the picture, but no one knows who this was.
Did he just say inside the walls? How do you watch someone from inside a wall? That doesn't even make sense. Could someone be watching me from inside a wall?
We're back with yet again another creepy solo listing. This time we're in the state of Washington and we have this building for almost $1 million. Here is the surrounding area. Already questionable, but let's go on. One of the bathrooms. Not really sure what this space is. It kind of looks like it's in a big elevator. Okay, lots of storage space. It's always with the creepy hatch doors. Let's go. I don't like it. Seems like a lovely place to have a conversation. Or an interrogation. In the description, it explains that this is a decommissioned radar tower that was supposed to be used by the Air Force, and that it was designed to withstand a nuclear blast within a 1-mile radius. So, it could be yours for $950K.
And in my opinion, bro, that place is completely useless unless you want to renovate it and make it into like a jail or do some sort of content there. But if you're just gonna get it to get it, waste of money, waste of $900,000. You know what you could do with $900,000? A lot more than buy that place. Honestly, if you want to do some real estate, you want some real entrepreneur stuff, you could really buy that property and try to flip it and make even more money from it. It's a risk you gotta take though.
I have a creepy story time. I can actually tag her this time. Her name is Stacy. So Stacy took care of her mom for 2 years after she was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. Her mom ended up moving into her home, and one night Stacy had a dream that her mom came to her and said, "Stacy, I am okay." Stacy woke up and thought that the whole dream was weird, being that in the dream her mom was wearing a hospital gown when the whole time her mom was staying at her house, she would be wearing sweatpants because she was always cold. She went and checked up on her mom and her mom was perfectly fine. Now fast forward to the day that her mom passed away, which was November 23rd of 2009. Stacy went to bed and woke up to her mom by her side saying, "Stacy, I am freezing." Stacy wakes up and the first thing that goes through her mind is, oh my god, my mom is at a funeral home right now and she's in a hospital gown, being that she passed away in hospice. She's telling me that she's freezing. Stacy almost drove to the funeral home to make sure her mom was wearing sweatpants, but decided not to, being that it was 2 a.m. and the funeral home was closed. Previously to her mom passing away, Stacy has spoken to her mom and told her that when she passes, to make sure that she hears a specific song to let her know that her mom was okay. Months later, Stacy's at a gas station pumping gas when out of nowhere she hears her mom's voice say, "Stacy, are you listening?" When Stacy stops to listen, she hears the song that her mom and her had agreed on to let her know that her mom was okay. And it was Bad Bad Leroy Brown. Stacy goes, well, it's about damn time.
That's good for her. Hey, that's good for her. I'm trying to figure out though, if you have lung cancer, like, because they said her mom, I think, had stage 4 lung cancer. How do you let that build up to that stage? Like, are there symptoms for the first 3 stages, or it's just like, boom, stage 10 lung cancer, you're done? Like, what? Because I'm thinking, like, if there's symptoms, like, why wouldn't you just be like,
yo, my lung kind of hurt on stage 1.
And then they'd be like,
oh, well, you have cancer. We can probably remove it. It's in, like, the early stages.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If you know, let me know down in the comments.
These are the most evil people on Earth, part 1. Number 1 on our list, David Berkowitz. David Berkowitz, otherwise known as the Son of Sam, was a serial who terrorized the area of New York City from about July of 1976 to July of 1977. He started his spree in 1975 when he stabbed 2 women with a hunting knife, but 2 years later, after his neighbor's dog supposedly told him to go out and start people, he grabbed a .44 caliber bulldog revolver and 6 people and injured 7. After these, Berkowitz continued to write very taunting letters to the press and the police, promising that until they caught him, he was going to continue to more people. But finally, on August 10th, 1977, police would move on to search Berkowitz's car, where they would find a duffel bag full of ammunition, a map of his crime scenes, a rifle, and an unsent letter from the Son of Sam to the police. And when Berkowitz was arrested, he told the police, well, you got me. What took you so long?
Oh yeah, nah, that dude is a weirdo, man. He looks like a normal, chill dude. And then he just out here doing that to people. You wouldn't even know. It'd be the people you don't expect. You'd be working with your coworker named Jimmy, like, yo, Jimmy, you know, Jimmy's a cool, chill dude. Next thing you know, he's on the news for M-wording. Like a whole area of people. I'm like, what?
When the hell did you just eliminate a whole city? It was chilling. We were working together, just talking, having normal conversations.
Then you just do that to like a whole group of people. Like, that's kind of strange, right?
What you do if you're walking down the street and you happen to come across the Hat Man. In case you forgot what he looks like, this is a quick little reminder. And of course, story time. The person who submitted this wants to be anonymous. Let's call her Lisa. So Lisa is originally from right down here. I don't want to say the name because I don't want to butcher it. It's an indigenous reserve. One summer night, her and her friends were walking down a road called Forgotten Street. When you get to the end of this road and you go to turn, there are no street lights, so everything's completely pitch black. So as they're walking down this road, they're laughing, they're talking, they're having a great time, when out of nowhere, one of the girls just suddenly stops. So Lisa kind of pokes her in the back and says, "Are you okay?" And the girl just points out into the distance and says, "Don't you see that?" When the girls look over in that direction, they see an unusual, tall, skinny man with a trench coat and a top black hat. All four girls stand there in shock, not really knowing how to react, when one of them breaks the silence and says, "So who is it for?" Because according to what they've always been told, whenever a top hat man shows up, it's for someone specific. Now this top hat man wasn't touching the ground at all. Like, his feet were about 4 inches off the ground. He was practically levitating. Lisa decides to stay behind while the other 3 girls go up to him, and they get so close to him that they can actually put their feet right under where he's levitating, and there's literally nothing there. Lisa states that after this incident, all 3 girls that went up to him and were like messing with him all live horrible lives. All 3 of them suffer from addiction and even worse. She believes that running into him is a bad omen, especially if you go up to him and start like trying to interact with him. She believes the reason why she was saved was because she stayed like 100 feet back. So if you ever run across him on a dark road, go the other way.
So, who answered the phone? This is the call. A young guy wrote, "Last night, a friend rushed me out of the house to catch an opening act at a local bar's music night. After a few drinks, I realized my phone wasn't in my pocket. I checked the table we were sitting at, the bar, the bathrooms. Couldn't find it anywhere. So I used my friend's phone to call mine. After 2 rings, someone answered. I heard on the other end a low, raspy giggle. And then hung up. I called again, but they didn't answer, and I eventually gave it up as a lost cause. Later that night, I headed home and saw it. I found my phone on my nightstand, right where I left it." So who answered the phone? Who is the giggler? Ever experienced anything creepy like this?
Honestly, I'll just hang up immediately. Like, I'll be getting calls from random numbers. I'll just look at it, answer it, I won't say anything. I'll just be like, then either they'll be like,
"Hello," or "Yo," or whatever, and that,
or they'll just hang up on me for answering them. Yeah, that's why I don't answer phones like that, man.
Videos humans were never meant to see, part 25. Okay, so majority of people on Earth do not like spiders, which makes perfect sense because they're extremely creepy. But the video I'm about to show you shows a spider in somebody's house, laying hundreds of babies on the floor, and you can see them all crawl around. Imagine you're in your room at night and this happens to you.
That's one of those situations where you just got to get some spray or some bug spray, or even if they have a spider spray, and just get all of them. Because as soon as all of them start running away, your whole house is going to be filled with spiders, man. You don't want that.
This is why I don't stay at creepy cabins. In 2018, a man trying to escape city life was staying in a cabin in the mountains. One morning, he stepped outside. He discovered a red ball resting in his front yard. At first, he thought nothing of it, imagining that his neighbor's children must be tossing it over the fence. He kicked the ball back, went inside, and tried to resume his daily routine. But when night fell, he was awoken by the sound of children laughing outside his window. Determined to investigate, he rushed out of his house only to find that there were no children anywhere in sight. Yet the red ball was back on his property. Confused, he brought it inside his house and tried to sleep. The following day, he went over to his neighbor's house to complain about the kids, but he discovered that his neighbor was an old man living alone and there were no children in the area. That night, the man awoke once again to the sound of children playing on his property. He peered out the window, but there were no children to be seen, only the red ball resting on the ground. He ran downstairs to check on the ball he had brought inside, but it had vanished without a trace. Suddenly, he felt a chill run down his spine as he spotted a strange, stiff, figure watching him from afar. The next day, the man left the cabin, never knowing who or what was outside.
Here are my top horror movies based on true stories. Number 1, we're gonna go with the classic, The Strangers. 3 dangerous intruders break into a couple's vacation home and start to torture them. The director stated that he was inspired by the Manson murders and home invasions that happened in his neighborhood when he was a child. Number 2, we have Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds, a film where a bunch of birds start to get really violent. So this film was inspired by a real-life event that happened in Capitola, California in 1961, where a bunch of birds just started to nosedive right straight into people. However, this happened because the birds had ingested toxic algae. And last but not least, and the most horrifying of them all, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know if I need to explain it because I know a lot of people have seen this movie, but it's about this horrifying murderer that swings a chainsaw around and likes to wear people's faces as a mask. And once he captures them, he likes to skin them and do stuff with their skin. So it's pretty bad. And this movie, of course, is inspired by Ed Gein, a terrifying serial killer that would skin his victims and make stuff out of their skin.
Yeah, I feel like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre one, I feel like a majority of people knew that one. That one was always kind of strange to me. I don't know why you would want to do that to people and then use their skin as your skin. That's kind of strange. You already have skin. Why would you want more skin? That's just my question. I don't know. Maybe I'm the one that's not right. Like, what? Does that even make sense? Like, why do you want to wear someone's skin while you already have skin?
What is the Denver airport hiding? Beneath the gloom of the Denver airport, something sinister awaits. Its vast, soulless halls echo with whispers of a dark conspiracy, veiled by the chilling gaze of the monstrous blue horse, Lucifer. The twisted runways form a swastika, a malignant symbol etched into the earth as if conjuring the very essence of malevolence. They say the airport's birth was shrouded in secrecy, delayed 2 harrowing years and costing an extra $2 billion. A shadowy cabal orchestrated the chaos, hiring and firing contractors to keep the airport's true design hidden from prying eyes. The enigmatic structure conceals unfathomable depths, with 6 subterranean layers and 5 forsaken buildings lurking beneath. These cryptic chambers, heavily guarded by unseen forces, harbor secrets that remain locked away. Among the cold, lifeless walls lies a cryptic message etched into a plaque, the New World Airport Commission. Yet it's as if the organization was birthed from the void, leaving no trace of its existence. What malevolent force lies concealed within the Denver airport, awaiting the day it will be unleashed upon the unsuspecting world?
This was going viral yesterday. People in Fresno, California reported seeing these lights in the sky. Here's another picture of these lights in the sky. So I did some quick research, and it's actually Venus and Jupiter really close together. So I can see how someone can mistake this as a UFO, but it's actually Jupiter and Venus. Fun fact, the closest that they're going to be together is today, March 2nd. So if you live near the area, go check it out.
The Battle of Los Angeles is a true story of the 1942 UFO incident over LA. It was a night unlike any other in the City of Angels. The year was 1942 and World War II was raging across the globe. The people of Los Angeles were on edge, and with good reason. The Japanese had already attacked Pearl Harbor just a few months prior, and there were rumors of an impending invasion across the California coast. But on the evening of February 24th, something much more mysterious and disturbing would grip the city. It began with a warning from naval intelligence, instructing units along the California coast to prepare for a potential Japanese attack. All remained calm for the next few hours, but as the night wore on, something else entirely began to unfold. It started with a series of strange flares and blinking lights, visible to the vicinity of the defense plants. The lights grew brighter and more intense, illuminating the darkened city streets. Suddenly, the air raid sirens began to blare, sending people into a frenzy of panic and confusion. Then, just as suddenly as they appeared, mysterious objects began to fill the night sky. The objects were large, silent, and seemingly impervious to the barrage of anti-aircraft fire unleashed upon them. The sky lit up with explosions as the objects moved across the city, leaving destruction in their wake. The people of Los Angeles were in shock. Was this the long-awaited Japanese attack, or was it something far more sinister? The true nature of the objects remained shrouded in mystery, but one thing was clear: they were not of this world. As the night wore on, the battle raged on with the unidentified flying objects moving south from Santa Monica to Long Beach. The anti-aircraft guns continued to fire, but it was like shooting at ghosts. The objects seemed to have an otherworldly ability to evade detection and destruction. Finally, after more than an hour of intense battle, the objects disappeared from sight. leaving the city in a state of shock and awe. The next day, the government would claim that the entire incident was a false alarm, a case of war nerves, and nothing more. But the people of Los Angeles knew better. To this day, the true nature of the Battle of Los Angeles remains a mystery. Was it an alien invasion, a secret government experiment gone wrong, or simply a figment of the collective imagination of the city on edge? Whatever the truth may be, the events of that fateful night continue to captivate and terrify those who dare to explore them. Some say that the object that appeared over Los Angeles that night were not of this world, that they were beings from another planet, here to observe or perhaps even conquer. Others believe that the objects were part of a secret government experiment, a new weapon of war that has gone horribly wrong. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is clear: the Battle of Los Angeles was a night unlike any other, a night that will go down in history as one of the greatest mysteries of our time. And as long as there are those who seek to uncover the truth, the mystery will continue to captivate and terrify those who dare to explore it.
These are movies to never watch, part 4. This movie is called The Descent. Sarah, who is the main character, experiences severe emotional trauma and goes to North Carolina to spend some time exploring caves with her friends. But after descending underground, they discover something truly horrifying. They find strange cave paintings and evidence of an earlier expedition, and they then learn they are not alone. Underground predators inhabit the caves, and they have a taste for human flesh. This movie is extremely disturbing and is regarded as one of the most traumatizing horror movies ever. My first time watching this, I couldn't sleep for days.
Yeah, I think I'm good off of that movie. I don't know, a lot of movies that are like that, I think I'm good. I've seen some movies, some horror movies. I call it gorer movies, because it's not like the traditional horror, suspense, jump scares. It's like just straight gore. Like they'll be doing some, you're like, ew. Like I'm not even scared, I'm disgusted. So I call that gore. The gore movies, yeah, no, I don't watch those.
The chilling tale of the Atlas vampire, a dark, unsolved mystery. Tucked away in the depths of Stockholm, Sweden, lies an unsolved horror that came to light in 1932. Its mystery had yet to be solved, leaving many with a chill running down their spine. The case of the Atlas vampire is an unsettling, spine-tingling narrative that will leave you reflecting on humanity's darkest depths and speculating if otherworldly creatures roam among us. Prepare to embark on a journey through the shadows as we uncover the sinister details of this spine-tingling crime. And remember, when the darkness falls, you may want to keep the lights on. On May 4th, 1932, the of 32-year-old Lily Lindrup was discovered in her small apartment in Atlas area of Stockholm near St. Eriksplan. Her face down on the bed had been lying there for 2 to 3 days before the police broke into her apartment. Lily had suffered blunt force trauma to her head, but the most horrifying details was yet to be uncovered. The horrifying nature of the crime became apparent when it was discovered that almost all of Lily's blood had been drained from her body. The vicious assailant had left behind a grisly calling card, a blood-stained ladle which authorities believed the had used to. This gruesome revelation earned the unknown perpetrator the chilling nickname, the Atlas Vampire. Police interviewed 9 of Lily's clients, desperately hoping for a lead that would help them identify her cold-blooded. Despite the efforts, none materialized, and the investigators were left with nothing but a chilling unsolved mystery. The Atlas Vampire had vanished, leaving no trace behind. Over the years, countless theories have emerged in an attempt to explain the baffling case of the Atlas Vampire. Some believe that a police officer was responsible for the brutal, using their knowledge of the crimes to cover their tracks. Others have speculated that the was a drifter, transiently passing through Stockholm, never to be found. And then there is the most chilling theory of all, that the Atlas Vampire was indeed a real vampire, a creature of the night that feasted upon the blood of its victims, a supernatural being that walked among us, blending into the shadows, leaving death and terror in its wake. The Atlas Vampire case remains one of the most disturbing and enigmatic unsolved mysteries The horrifying of Lily Lindruff continues to baffle and captivate as the chilling specter of the Atlas vampire continues to cast its shadow over the world.
Nah, bro, I don't understand that case, bro. The Atlas vampire, why would you want to drink someone else's blood? In my opinion, man, if you do that, you're bound to catch something. Like, realistically, you know how many things people just have floating around in their blood and they have no idea? Like, you're bound to catch something drinking other people's. Nah, you're bugging, bro. That dude's bugging.
To the deep one, as I thought I could swim. We break up every weekend. Cause it gotta be like that. I just want you so bad. Playing with my mind, was that your intention? Cause I'm missing you.
I thought they said Walt Disney was frozen. I swear to God, one of my TikToks that I watched during the series, it said that Walt Disney was frozen in time. If he's frozen in time, how the hell is he just walking around as a ghost? That's definitely not Walt Disney, bro. They said his body was like cryogenically frozen or something like that. Like, I don't know. It is kind of strange if he is frozen, though. I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of scary.
Alright, guys, so I'm not one to follow conspiracy theories or anything like that, but this is a little too obvious and it's kind of insane. So as you can see, Ice Spice is at the Super Bowl and they keep putting her up on camera, and I can't help but notice that she has this weird necklace on, right? Now, I don't know if I'm tripping or not, but is that an upside down cross, bro? It breaks my heart because I love Ice Spice. Like, I actually enjoy her music. Like, as you guys see here, they're at the game right now. They keep showing her on, and I swear that's an upside down cross. And what I'm about to show you is actually the scariest one. This is where I was like, hold up, something isn't right. All right, so this is a video of somebody at the Super Bowl while Taylor Swift is taking a drink. Right, so if you see it, you just see Taylor Swift chugging a drink. Everyone's going crazy, right? But if you zoom into Ice Spice, like, look, again, I'm not a crazy conspiracy theory guy. Guys, look what she does with her hands. Bro, she's legit throwing up. That, I'm pretty sure, is a satanic hand gesture. And then she throws up her upside down cross necklace. This is just sad, bro. This is honestly sad, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
I don't know. That's like the video that I posted the other day where they're all just like, pass, like doing that football hand sign, the one above their eyes. With Ice Spice, I couldn't even tell you, man. Like, she be seeming like she's chill, but realistically, she could be just a part of them like that. If you know what I'm trying to say. That cross one, I'm not too sure. It's like a little bit of an upside down cross mixed with like a little bit of a normal cross. The hand symbol, that was unnecessary, so I don't know why she did that. She's probably just trying to be like,
yeah, guys, I'm Illuminati for real.
Like, what? Come on, Ice Spice. It's like the chain, check the link down below. 99% of these chains are free right now, so if you guys like the chain, check the link down in the description.
Have a Llorona story time. The person who submitted this has been tagged down below so I can actually use her real name, Rachel. This story actually just happened back in October. Rachel and her sister were on vacation in Salem, Massachusetts. The last night they were there, they were laying in bed in their hotel room watching TV when they started to randomly hear the sound of a woman crying. Now this crying was more like a wailing. It sounded like this woman was really in agony. Rachel and her sister did not really know what to make of it. Their first thought was to look out the window to see what was going on, but they were so tired that they decided to just lay in bed. The crying went on for about 15 minutes, then it started to get lower and lower until the crying finally stopped, so the girls didn't think anything of it. Rachel's sister eventually fell asleep, but Rachel stayed up watching TV. At about 3 a.m. the crying started again, and now it was extremely loud. It sounded like it was almost right outside their window. At this point, Rachel decided that she was going to get up and investigate, but when she got up, she realized that the crying now sounded further and further away. Rachel decided that she was gonna look out of her window anyways, just to see if she could see anything, but she stopped when she realized that she could hear footsteps coming from right outside her window. At that point, she decided to shut the TV down, shut off all the lights, and go to bed. Or at least try to. The crying did eventually stop. So if you ever happen to be in the Salem area, make sure you're listening. You might hear her too.
Good thing I'm never in that area. Hell no. Yo, imagine you're trying to chill and then all of a sudden just hear crying like, who the f?
Like, who's crying right now, bro?
Doppelganger is a German word meaning double taker. In the world of paranormal, a doppelganger is often portrayed as a ghostly or paranormal phenomenon. A doppelganger is like your evil twin. It is a sinister or evil entity out to get you. Others believe that doppelgangers are a form of demons, hence why it's said to be bad luck if you see your doppelganger. I'm your host, Lindsay Ivan, and in today's video, let's take a look at some of the scariest doppelganger stories.
There's a street right here where you weren't supposed to walk alone. This is where my grandma, my abuelita, used to live and where I used to stay during the holidays. Think of all the monsters you know, they exist here in Puebla, Mexico. There was a lady right here who would never come out, and a lot of my family members thought that she practiced a lot of witchcraft, a lot of brujeria. And on this street right here, a lot of my cousins would say that they would see La Llorona, a spirit, a ghost crying for her kids. There was also a hill right here where people would see the devil, El Diablo. During the day, everyone would go out and play, but at night, people had to be careful.
If I'm being honest, that sounds like the typical ghost stories. Like, during the day, everything was calm until night struck, where everything went crazy. I'm being honest, man, but maybe he's not lying. Maybe there's like werewolves there, you know, vampires.
Those sparkling ones from Twilight.
Like, bro's probably not lying.
Are you ready for a spooky story? Josie and her husband were moving to Charleston and were in the midst of looking for a home to buy. She had been working with a realtor named Debbie and set to meet her at a beautiful home built in the 1800s that just hit the market. Josie pulled up to the house for the showing, looked in, and through the front window saw a figure walking around inside. She assumed it was Debbie. Josie walked up to the front door and found it ajar, again figuring Debbie had left it open. She popped her head in and said, "Hello?" But no response. Josie pushed the front door open a bit more, stepped inside, and as she did, she could distinctly hear footsteps. Someone was walking around upstairs. She called out again, "Hello, Debbie?" Still no response. And then heard a door shut upstairs. Josie was getting nervous. There was obviously someone here, maybe the owner, so she quickly ran out the front door and waited outside. A few minutes later, Debbie pulled up to the house and Josie quickly told her about what happened, that the front door was open and there was someone inside the home, possibly the owner. Debbie paused and said, "Well, that's not possible. The older gentleman who owned the home passed away a few months back and the home has been empty ever since." Debbie also said that front door should have been locked. Debbie thought it was a possible intruder and asked for police to come search the home. But when police got there, they found the house was completely empty. Police said there was no sign of any intruder. Josie remains convinced that it was the ghost of the past owner she saw and heard that day, and took the fact the owner left the door open for her as a sign that they were welcome there. And Josie and her husband ended up buying the home. Would you move into a haunted house?
No. Yo, why would I move into a haunted? If I specifically know a house is haunted, why would I move into it? Like, let's say, you know how some people just be like just have speculations, like,
You know, this guy did die here, so it could be haunted.
but some, like, I would say 7 out of 10 times they're not haunted. But if you know for a fact that a house is haunted, why would you want to move into that house? If you would move into that house, put it down in the comments.
Scary Places Part 9. The Duivelsberg, or Devil's Hill, is a hill located near Nijmegen in the Netherlands that is said to be haunted by the devil himself. For centuries, stories have circulated about the sinister goings on this cursed hill. Some say that the Duivelsberg is home to a coven of witches. Women who were accused of witchcraft were convicted, hanged, and burned on this hill. The souls of these deceased women are said to still be present, and everyone who visits the area talks about feeling like they are being watched. One legend tells of a group of travelers who set out to climb the Duivelsberg on a dark and stormy night. As they reached the summit, they were met with a terrible sight, a pack of glowing eyes staring back at them from the darkness. To this day, many people still claim to see the devil on the hill, especially at night. Despite these chilling tales, many still visit the Duivelsberg, drawn by its dark and mysterious beauty. But be warned, for those who dare to tread too close to the hill's secrets may never return.
Yeah, man, people got to be careful. It's like those missing 411 cases. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. It's basically like the national parks where people just go missing. Like, they'll walk around, you know what I'm saying, go a little bit too far and then just never be seen again. Yeah, you do not want to end up like those people, man. I really wonder what happens to those people. Like, realistically, like, what happened?
This town is so haunted, it's burned to the ground 3 separate times. This is the notoriously spooky Jerome, Arizona. Known as the wickedest town in the West, Jerome, Arizona burned down 3 times in 3 years in the late 1800s. Back in the day, it was known for copper mining and also became notorious for its seediness. But over time, population dwindled and it became a ghost town. The whole town is thought to be haunted, but the Jerome Grand Hotel itself has a really creepy history. Before it was a hotel, it was a hospital where an estimated 9,000 souls spent their final hours. It opened to guests in the 90s, and visitors here report some pretty strange occurrences. Often, folks will report waking up to the sound of someone breathing in their room, only to turn on the light and no one's there. Lights flicker. Others report the sound of someone crying to the front desk, only for staff to check and find the room that the crying is coming from is completely empty. Have you revisited, and do you think you could last a night here?
Yeah, I think I could last a couple nights if I'm being real. Just bring a camera and just so you guys can see what I'm going through. But I think I could genuinely just stay there and be like, okay, it's okay right here. I'm chilling.
She had no idea that she was actually talking to a ghost. This story comes to us from a viewer. She writes, "Hi Avery, I'm Sienna, and Halloween 2021 was the most unexplainable night of my life. My 2 friends and I made a plan to spend Halloween night at a local haunted house. This home was built in the 1800s and it was a big, beautiful Victorian mansion and supposedly very haunted. That night, the 3 of us and about 10 others met with a tour guide who was going to give us a ghost tour. The tour was done in the dark, which added a layer of spookiness, and we all held candles to guide us through the home. And another thing, our tour guide was dressed in a full Victorian gown. She looked like she was from that time. It was actually really cool. We set out for the tour, and 20 or so minutes in, we had just finished touring the basement cellar when we were set to head upstairs, and I had to use the restroom. The restroom is right over there, dear. Just catch up with us after you're finished. We'll be right upstairs, the tour guide said. I went in, did my thing, and opened the door to an empty hallway. I looked up and saw another tour guide standing in a doorway down the hall. She was dressed just as the other tour guide, full green gown with her hair up and a beautiful updo. I walked towards her and smiled. This home is really nice. I'm really enjoying the tour, I said as I passed by her. She then slowly turned, looked at me, smiled, and then went, shh, as she lifted her finger to her lips. As I walked back up the stairs, I looked back at the guide and she just watched me with a smirk. The tour finished about 30 minutes later, and as we were leaving, our main tour guide thanked us for coming and said she had to lock up. I don't want to be here too late with all the ghosts, she said. Well, hopefully the other tour guide can help you so you can get out of here, I said to her as I put on my coat. What other tour guide? She asked. The woman in the green gown, I said matter-of-factly. She paused for a second and then said, Darling, there is no other tour guide here tonight. I'm the only one. The tour guide smiled and said, You met Constance. Who? I asked, thoroughly confused. Turn around, she said. And as I did, I saw her. The portrait of the woman I saw hanging right there in the hallway. Wait a second, how? I asked her. Constance was the lady of the house and one of the most commonly reported spirits here. You saw a ghost tonight, she said. I had always been a believer, but seeing her that night standing right in front of me is an experience that I will never ever forget. I believe that Constance was there, watching over her house, keeping an eye on things.
Nah. So all I gotta say is no. Yo, nah. Imagine, can't even imagine that one, man. I could never do that, dude. Walk into a house, like, yeah, the other tour guide told me to, and then it's just like,
What other tour guide? There's no other tour guide.
it was like, but she was in great.
Oh yeah, you met the dead one.
What? What dead tour guide?
I was like, you see her picture? Her picture is right there. That's who you met.
I was like, how did I meet her if she's dead?
I don't know. You just met her. I'm like,
I would just not even. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm leaving. I'm sorry.
These are videos humans were never meant to see, part 19. Okay, so we all know how the moon gets hit by asteroids. But have you ever actually seen the moon get hit by one? If not, you're about to witness it. This video is both extremely fascinating and terrifying. Just look at the explosion this little asteroid causes. Just imagine if this asteroid was bigger.
Nah, that one was crazy. Yo, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't think we really understand how fast those asteroids are coming, because you know how space is a vacuum. So even if you do shoot a bullet in space, it's not gonna really be moving too fast. But like, that asteroid was definitely coming in like 3+ times faster than a bullet. Like, that explosion was insane, dude. let's hope that never happens to Earth. At least as long as we're alive. You know what I'm saying? If it happens after, I mean, RIP the grandkids, but...
Yo, who remembers this episode on Courage the Cowardly Dog? Like, the worst part, it would play at night and I wouldn't be able to go to sleep. What about the Halloween episode on Boy Meets World? At the end of the episode, it's revealed who the monster actually is. Were you like me who would collect all the Goosebumps books just because of the covers? They're pretty cool.
It's not lying. That Courage the Cowardly Dog one, that used to trip me out all the time when I was younger. I was like,
what is going on?
Like, why is it just like, I don't know, it's so weird. Like, mostly when you're like young, it's just like, ugh. It's like, ugh. But now that you're older, it's like, whatever.
And this is why you should always think twice before accepting a ride from a coworker.
A guy named Clark just started a new job at a graphic design company a few weeks before Halloween. The company, being a bunch of creatives, were really big on Halloween and always threw a big costume party. The night of, Clark had his roommate drop him off at the party and was set to come back and pick him up later that night. The party was really fun and everyone was dressed up in masks, capes, and costumes were so elaborate he could barely tell who was underneath.
Clark had a really good time meeting a bunch of his new coworkers.
Around 8:30, his roommate messaged him that he was going to be by to pick him up around 9, so he went out to the parking lot to wait for his ride. When one of his coworkers walked up to the parking lot and the two struck up a conversation, the guy looked to be in his 40s and said his name was Tom Lindell. He had a white mask on and said he worked at the graphic design firm for the past 5 years.
The two talked for a while, and Tom seemed to be a really nice guy and even offered to give Clark a ride home as it was on his way.
Clark told his roommate that he got a ride, the two got in the car, but from the second they did, Tom's demeanor shifted. Clark continued to ask him about the company, and when he did, Tom didn't seem to want to talk about work at all anymore.
He also kept his mask on the entire ride.
A couple minutes into the drive, Tom eerily said, "Don't you love Halloween? You can hide behind a mask all night and no one knows who you really are." Tom then asked him, "Do you want to come over to my house for a drink or something?"
Clark said, "No thanks, I should be getting home."
The car was awkwardly silent for a second when suddenly Tom said, "No, you'll come over."
Clark was starting to get a really bad feeling about this entire thing.
He needed to get out of there. At the next stoplight, Tom slowed the car and Clark quickly jumped out of the passenger side. "Where are you going? What's your problem?" Tom shouted as Clark jogged down the sidewalk. Clark made it back to his apartment and told his roommate about how strange his coworker was. He really wasn't looking forward to seeing him around the office, and his roommate urged him to report it to their boss. So the next morning, Clark got to work and stopped to talk with the front desk secretary, an older woman named Denise who had worked there for years. Clark said, "Hi Denise, I need to talk to someone about something that happened last night after the party with one of the employees here."
Denise said, "Oh no, okay, who?"
"Tom Lindell. He said he's worked here for 5 years."
The woman then paused.
Clark then continued, "He was here last night wearing the white mask?" Denise then said, "I don't know how to tell you this, but there's no Tom Lindell that works here."
"Say what, Denise?"
"Then who was that?" Clark reported this man to police, and the officer then told him that last Halloween, another man Clark's age went missing after he was seen accepting a ride from a man in a white mask.
And he hasn't been seen since.
Hey, you want to come over?
I'm good.
Nah, you're coming over.
What? Yo, I look at him like,
what?
Then he's just gonna be like,
nah, you're coming over.
I'm just gonna be like, hell no, I'm not. I'm like, okay, bro. Grab a frying pan. I'm like, Don't ask me where I got the frying pan from. It was just on deck for a situation like this.
3 clips showing alleged Bigfoot sightings. I Buta there. Most famous clip.
Oh, there he goes.
This guy is so chill.
One day, one of those people that are recording Bigfoot or whatever looks to be Bigfoot, they're gonna be recording like, "Ha, I got him," and then out of nowhere, that big owl, whatever it is gonna run after him. They're gonna be like, "Oh no!" Like, come on, bro. If you see something like that, just get out of there. Why are you recording it? Yo. Even me, if the cameras are not already on, I'm not recording that. I'm out of there.
My aunt was playing with the Ouija board, and yeah, it didn't go well. So back in the 1990s in Mexico, playing with the Ouija board was a norm for teenagers. Everyone was doing it. Like, the parents didn't really care. There was one night where things got really strange. My aunt invited my parents. At the time, my parents were just dating. My dad was really skeptical, but he was really curious. And one of the questions he asked was, will I marry her? My dad tells me that the cup just moved by itself and it landed on yes. He was creeped out, but at the same time, he was kind of happy. I can just imagine him. Yes, the spirits are on my side. This almost sounds like a scene from the show Stranger Things. That was a funny experience that they had, but they also had very terrifying ones. Let me know if you want to hear about them.
A part of me is just wondering, like, can spirits see the future? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe they were just like, let's just freak with this dude. Just say yes. Like, how do you know spirits can really see the future, though? Like, can they even really see the future? Like, let's really be real for a second. What even would a... You know, they might actually be able to see the future. Because if they are spirits, that means to an extent they're not three-dimensional creatures. It means they would be of something of a higher dimension, which would give them access to the future. Honestly, to an extent, I think the spirits low-key can see the future. If what I'm saying is right, like if they are like on a higher dimension, I don't know, bro. I think personally they might be able to.
This is going to be your reaction through this creepy story. Last Halloween, Lily had just broken up with her boyfriend and decided to spend Halloween night at home with her parents. She still lives at home and just wasn't in the mood to go out and party. The three watched some scary movies and passed out candy to trick-or-treaters throughout the night. Around 10, Lily's parents were going to bed and told her they had placed the bowl of remaining candy on the front porch in case anyone else came by, and Lily was going to stay up and watch some more TV before heading to bed. Hours later, around midnight, came a knock at the door. It's a little late for this, isn't it? Lily said to herself as she stood up to look through the front window. On the porch was a man in a clown costume. The person looked to be an adult and was alone. Lily sat back down, figuring whoever he was would eventually leave. Another few moments passed, and then another knock. And then a voice emerged from behind the door. "There's no more candy," the voice said. It appeared the man was using a child's voice. The whole thing was creepy, and Lily once again thought that he would just leave. A few minutes passed, and it appeared that the man left. All was quiet, and Lily went back to watching TV, when suddenly, from the back door this time, another knock. And again, Lily heard that man's voice saying, "There's no more candy." Lily looked through the kitchen to see that same man in that clown costume at her back door trying to look inside. Lily ran in to wake her parents to tell them, but when her dad ran out to open the door, no one was there. Lily's parents agreed that this was very strange, but locked up for the night and everyone went to bed. A couple hours later at 2:30 a.m., Lily was awoken to a voice coming from her front yard. Her bedroom faced the street. She slowly stood up, walked over to the window where she saw that same man in the clown suit standing in her front yard. He was repeatedly yelling, "Make sure you have enough candy next year." Lily was petrified, ran back into her parents' room where they called police. But by the time they got there, he was gone. But they knew that he was there because they found this on their front lawn. Now, with Halloween only a couple days away, Lily is terrified that this man will return. So I guess the moral of this story would be, make sure you have enough candy, and make sure you have police on speed dial. Yikes. Do you have any creepy stories from Halloween?
You know, that's just the expression of that story, just because that's a grown man coming up to your door telling you, "Give me more." Hey man, not against anything. Like, you can do what you want, but like, just don't be weird about it. If you want some free candy, bro, just be chill. Like, come on, man.
Creepypasta has some of the creepiest stories, like this one. This one's called Backrooms, a never-ending, inescapable room that leads to nowhere. And don't forget about the night giants, creatures that are taller than houses, buildings. Or how about these lost episodes? I remember like watching this on YouTube like at 2 a.m. and being like really freaked out. There's a collection of stories from SpongeBob, Mickey Mouse, Toy Story. So the question is, what's your favorite creepypasta story? Comment below.
Backrooms is a big one. It actually, I'm pretty sure it got popular like around 3 years ago.
Oh my god, looks like I'm in the back rooms.
And it's just like some random like uninhabited Sears mall like store. Just like,
I'm in the back rooms.
But they're really not in the back rooms. They're just literally in an empty store that's not been renovated yet. But hey man, them back rooms do look kind of scary. Sometimes.
You're stuck on a school bus in the middle of nowhere. What do? And then you see this creature on the top of the bus just staring at you. In the movie Jeepers Creepers 2, this is what happened. If you get off the bus, bam, you get snatched. Remember, there's no internet, no signal, so you can't be vlogging on this trip. You're a student on the bus. How would you survive?
Man, that's insane. Imagine going to school and then boom, you step out, boom, you're just gone. He said, how would you survive? I mean, I never really watched Jeepers Creepers 2 or Jeepers Creepers in general. I might have to now. Like that looks like a very interesting concept for a movie.
These objects are appearing all over the country, so here's what we know so far. On Friday over Alaska, a second object was shot down. We still don't know what it is. On Saturday over Montana, radar anomaly detected but no object found. That same day, Saturday, a third object was shot down by Canada officials right over here. And today over Michigan, it's being reported that another object was shot down. If there's any new information, I'll keep you guys updated.
Did you know this is the shocking truth about Lady Gaga that most people don't talk about? Lady Gaga is currently ranked the #1 pop artist in America. She's a talented singer and songwriter, but did you know who she is today is not who she started out as? But listen to this. Just like the vast majority of artists today, there comes a point in their career where they're actually going to choose to sell their soul to the devil. And that's exactly what Lady Gaga did for fame and fortune. In fact, she's publicly dubbed herself the Bride of Satan. Her live concerts, songs, and music videos now have ritual satanic practices and other demonic things. The truth is, the devil is very real and he's not even hiding. But if you want to keep the door closed to the devil in your life, then watch the video below.
Not gonna lie, sometimes I'll be hearing artists talk about, yeah, I sold my soul and stuff like that. I'm like, bro, if you really sold your soul, why are you telling people you sold your soul? Like, there's a lot of artists out there that probably actually didn't even sell their soul, that just be saying it just for publicity. But I don't know, to an extent, the way how some artists do die, it does give off like, yo, I sold my soul vibes, if that makes sense. Like, some artists will get big super quick, like a year or two, get super big and then die like a year later. And you're just like, that's a little strange.
If you haven't seen the latest conspiracy on TikTok, apparently Michelle Obama is a man. Or shall we say that she was born a man? There are hundreds of videos circling around on TikTok, but said video has racked up 9.8 million views. And it doesn't even matter if she was born a boy, but this photo is fake. Let's debunk this conspiracy. Here is the real image of Barack Obama and Michelle when they were younger and dating. A quick Google search will show that she was actually a beautiful young girl. So yeah, myth debunked, Michelle Obama was not born a man.
Yeah, there is a lot of people that do think that Michelle was a man at one point. It's kind of strange because I've seen like pictures and her back is literally built like my back. And I work out every day. I'm like, Michelle, what the hell? But I don't know, man. I mean, I don't... It's so hard to tell, but like... I've seen some videos. It's like, I wouldn't be surprised if she really was a man. Who knows? What do you think? Do you think that Michelle Obama is a man or was a man, or do you think that's just hearsay? All right, thank you guys for watching. Just remember that these chains are free for limited time only. Check the link in the description. If you guys like this video, please like the video. Let's try to run this video up to like at least 500 likes.
What's up? These are scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know, part 27. When you pass away and you were one of those people that donated your body to science, it could be used for one of three things. It could be used for medical training, it could be used for forensic research, or it could be used as a crash test dummy in cars. Back when the guillotine was being used very often, people would rush to get their heads chopped off because if they weren't one of the first ones, the blade would end up getting dull, and once the guillotine came down, their head wouldn't be fully chopped off and they would still be alive going through this painful mess. This fact makes me cringe, but for every one person on Earth, there are over 200 million insects. Well, if your mom didn't get you a dog for Christmas, I guess you can choose from the 200 million insects. There's something known as a boom-slaying snake, and its venom will cause you to bleed from every hole in your body, and I mean every single hole. There's something known as a poop bank, and you can get feces by the bottle there. That's disgusting.
Nah, 200 animals per human being alive is insane. That's a lot of freaking... Wait, it's not even animals, it's insects. It's over. That's a lot of insects, dude. Like, hell no. I don't even like insects in general. It's funny how small insects are, but as a big human that's literally over 5'6" Definitely shouldn't say that because I'm definitely taller than 5'6". But like, as a human that's taller than these insects, you'd be looking at them like, ew, like, get away from me. Like, you'd be terrified. I swear to God. Like, I'd be like, ew, no. Mostly for spiders. I'm like, nah. Get away from me, bro.
Dark facts about Disney, part 1. This is one of the biggest cover-ups ever made by Disney.
On December 24th, 1999, 2 park guests and an employee were involved in a bad accident on the sailing ship Columbia Ride.
Basically, a heavy metal cleat became loose and it hit those guests and the employee. Sadly, one of the guests and his wife was hospitalized, but Disney failed to tell the police. And when the police did arrive, Disney cleaned up the mess as quickly as possible. They even refused to let in outside medical personnel. They were scared that a death on their hands would look bad on them, and that it would frighten their guests. As a result of their actions, though, they were actually taken to court and they got some hefty fines. Make sure to like and follow for part 2. Also, you can check me out on YouTube, link in bio.
I mean, that's understandable. If you're at an amusement park and something like that happened, you don't really want that to get out there. But you know what's worse than that? Is exactly what they did. Is that they try to cover it up. And now people know they try to cover it up. Which is, in my opinion, worse than just being like, yo, cop, some guy accidentally, like, you know what I'm saying? Nah, R.I.P. Disney, man. They went about it in the worst way.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 42. Back during the Antiquity era, Spartan warriors had a dish called black soup, and it was made of boiled pig legs and sounds appetizing, doesn't it? Back between the 15 and 1800s, women were forced to wear something called a scold's bridle. It was a mask that went around your head and had a metal piece that went on your tongue to keep you from gossiping or sharing words that didn't need to be said. Supposedly, the reason you wake up right before you die in a dream is because your brain doesn't know what comes after death. I know you guys probably know this fact, but it's still just very mind-boggling to me. But if humans were to other humans at the same rate that they animals, we would be extinct in 17 days. When the Siamese twin Daisy Hilton, her sister Violet, still attached at the hip, wasn't found for days after she so she was just sitting there with her sister's body.
The one about the sisters, that one is insane. Damn, man. Said she was just attached to her, just like, bruh. You know, that should be traumatizing. But the human part and the animals thing too, yeah, man, just think about it. I feel like that's like the real version of what hell would be. Like, imagine you died and just get reincarnated into like the slaughterhouse, and you're just constantly just getting reincarnated into like different cows just over and over. You know, that'd be terrible. I feel like that's what like real hell is, if you ask me.
Darkest cartoon fan theories that will make you rethink everything. The Rugrats theory. This theory states that all of the babies in Rugrats are not alive and are part of Angelica's imagination. Chucky and his mom were lost in a car accident. This would explain why Chaz is always a nervous wreck. Tommy was a stillborn. This would explain why Stu is always in the basement making toys for the son he never had. Phil and Lil's mom had an abortion, and since Angelica never knew the baby's gender, she imagined twins. Kimmy is Asian. Ash's coma theory. This theory states that in the first episode of Pokemon, Ash falls into a coma. And every episode since then has just been a product of his comatose dreams. This would explain why throughout all these years, he's still 10 years old. Adventure Time coma theory. Basically the same exact thing, but with Finn from Adventure Time. Also, he tried to take his own life by swallowing pills. Phineas and Ferb dark theory. Strangely, all of these theories share one thing in common. They're all the stupidest I've ever heard in my entire life.
But nah, those are some interesting theories if you ask me. And I'm not gonna lie, he's not wrong. Like, I feel like some of them are pretty stupid, but hey, it's just a theory.
Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 15. In the original version of Little Red Riding Hood, instead of just the wolf eating the grandmother, it was supposed to consist of the wolf and the granddaughter eating the grandmother. Sorry, Grandma. In a survey that many commercial pilots were asked to take, 56% of them admitted to falling asleep behind the wheel. Now you know why so many people are afraid of planes. There's a respiratory disease called Onden's Curse that if you fall asleep, you could potentially die. That's why you need to stay awake for as long as you can. Some theaters actually hired priests to bless the viewers in a theater after watching the movie The Conjuring because they felt a negative presence. Yeah, it was probably a demon. The TV show Little Bill, who was made by Bill Cosby, was actually based on Bill Cosby's son, who was murdered when he was 27 while changing his tire on the side of the interstate.
One thing I will say about the pilot, though, it makes sense because if you really think about it, airplanes are naturally just an autopilot throughout the air. Like, the only part where the pilot really needs to be there is during landing and takeoff. That's usually what I've heard. So I feel like if they do fall asleep in the middle of the air and they have a co-pilot, they should be good. But if both of the co-pilots were asleep, okay, now you're just bugging, bro.
Creepy facts that will give you nightmares. There are over 18 million abandoned houses in the United States, which is enough for every single homeless person to own 6 of them. There are tons of living bacteria inside of your belly button right now. During World War II, an American plane crash landed on a Japanese island. Out of the 9 men on board, 8 of them were captured and eaten, and the one man who survived was George H.W. Bush. Scaphism was one of the worst ancient torture methods ever. It consisted of covering the victim's body completely with honey and feeding them to insects, all while alive.
Yo, what's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know, part 14. If you ever ended up getting hit by lightning, this weird skin design called Lichtenberg figures will show up on your skin, and trust me, it does not feel good. At all. Back in ancient Rome, if you ever ended up somebody's dad, your punishment would be being sewn up in a sack full of a chicken, a dog, and a viper, and being thrown in the middle of the ocean so they can eat you to death. Let's hope this one doesn't happen to us because it sounds super painful, but people can actually spontaneously burst into flames. It's called spontaneous human combustion, where they just burst into a ball of flames for no apparent reason. I'm guessing you guys would probably consider this next one more weird than scary, but I'd be pretty scared if this happened to me. But men can actually lactate under very harsh circumstances. Well, I guess that means we're starting to do the breastfeeding now. Here's a weird and scary one. Britney Spears actually sold her pregnancy test on eBay for $5,000. And here's the 2 scary things about it. She sold her pregnancy test on eBay for $5,000, and someone bought her pregnancy test on eBay for $5,000.
Oh, nah, I feel like as a celebrity, you can make money so easily. You could probably just sell the tissue you blew your nose with, and then you'll probably make like easy $10,000, $15,000. Just like, I don't know. I feel like once you reach that status, it's just so easy to just make so much more money compared to like just being a regular or average person, I guess you could say. I don't really believe in just being like, oh yeah, that's just an average Joe over there. Like, I guess you could just, I guess it is what it is, but I don't know. It feels kind of weird just being like, oh yeah, average celebrity, average poor. Like what? Like why is it just categorizing people? Hey man, it is what it is. That's how it is nowadays. But yeah, I also heard about the one where you can catch on fire randomly. I remember like 2 years ago when I first heard about that, I was kind of paranoid. Like, yo, what if I'm just chilling here and then all of a sudden just like what?
Facts that will give you nightmares, part 3. First up, we could easily solve the problem of American homelessness. We're just not doing it. On average, there are 17 million vacant homes in America at any given time. And according to endhomelessness.org, there are roughly 500,000 people in the states who are homeless. So why aren't we fixing it? The math isn't mathing. Next up, humans shed skin. We know that, but we shed a lot of skin. According to the World Health Organization and recent studies, the average human will shed 112 pounds of skin in their lifetime. That is nasty. And lastly, what sounds like one of the most terrifying medical conditions, locked-in syndrome, exists. This condition refers to somebody being trapped in a coma-like state and being aware of it. You know you're awake and you can hear and see things, but you can't talk and you can only move your eyes. So essentially, you're not able to respond to anything. Like and follow for part 4.
That last one is pretty scary. That's like being in like, it's not even like being in a coma. It's like being in a sleep paralysis. Like you feel and look everything, but you can't move. You know how scary that must be? Just being like just having a body that you just can't control. Like just imagine you right now, you can walk up. You could get up, go walk, go for a walk, get some food, eat, rest. You know what I'm saying? Watch a movie. Now imagine just being able to get up, like sit up and not move. Like you're just stuck in one place. Like, you know the Get Out movie where he was just stuck in the sunken chair just like this? Now imagine if you were that dude, but instead of being in a sunken place, you just can only use your eyes. You're just like, scary stuff.
What's up? Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know, part 33. The Pentagon actually has a plan to combat zombies if it were to ever happen. In fact, there was a document that stated that it was in training and they used scenarios to make it look like zombie outbreaks. So if they're not worried about us eventually having a zombie apocalypse, then why do they have the training? In 2013, the law allowed a man to marry his 13-year-old adopted daughter. I guess that's where Tony Lopez needs to move next. There is a company that took the dead skin from executed convicts and used the skin for beauty products. Please don't tell me you were one of those people that bought from that company, because that's just creepy. Heroin was once used to treat people that were addicted to morphine and was supposed to help. Yeah, funny how the tables turned. Pisces are the most common zodiac signs to be linked with serial killers. That's great. I'm a Pisces. Don't worry guys, I'm not gonna murder you. Yet.
If you know a Pisces, you gotta send them this video. Be like, yo, you are more likely to become a serial. That's the same thing they said about people born in November. So if you're born in November and you're is Pisces people born in November? I'll look that up right now. Nah, that's a lie because they said the serial killers were in November and Pisces is from February to like March. Huh? It's a little bit strange.
Here are some more scary facts that you probably didn't know. Until now. First up, if the sun exploded right now, you wouldn't know about it for another 8 minutes. The energy from the explosion would be traveling at the speed of light, which means it would take about 8 minutes and 20 seconds for it to travel from the sun to the earth. My question is, would we die? Like, what would happen? Next up, and this one scares the out of me. 20% of children report that they hear voices. So when a child says that they have an imaginary friend, this could be the reason why they hear voices. They are seeing some paranormal activity. But to be honest, I remember I had an imaginary friend. So, and lastly, around the world, there are up to 40 supervolcanoes that have the ability to take 1 billion lives. And with that being said, we are 24,000 years overdue for an eruption. I am scared. We don't know when these things are gonna blow up.
Now, what's really baffling my brain is the fact that this dude said, yeah, the sun is, if the sun explodes, it would take 8 minutes for us to actually know. Then he said, would we die? Obviously, the sun exploded. We're done. This whole solar system that we're in is done. The sun has exploded. The sun is like the heart of the solar system. So if that thing is gone, we're gone. It's that simple. Why is he asking like, yo, are we gonna die? Like, obviously.
Here are 4 medieval medical facts that will give you physical nightmares, and they get worse as the video goes on. Oh, and it'll make you thank feck you were born in the 21st century. At first, in my opinion, one of the worst things you could have ever done in that time is tell any doctor you have a headache. Because how they thought to cure a headache was by drilling a hole in the side of your head to release the demons. Oh, and do you think you get any anesthetic for that? No! Oh, and I should probably add that the doctors back then didn't know feck all about human anatomy. They didn't know, and they also didn't give a shit. And because of this, doctors back then really didn't care at all if they were causing their patient pain, in which I promise you would have been experiencing. Next up is the horrifying truth behind cataract eye surgery. This fact makes me want to physically cringe into the next world. Now let me tell you why. How you doing, man? All the surgeons would use a painful procedure known as needling. This is where, with zero anesthetic, the doctor will insert this needle into the side of the patient's cornea. What? Finally, you better hope nothing's wrong with your fucking teeth, or you'd have to go to the tooth man, a person who traveled with musicians to drown out the screams of his patients. Nope.
And I talked about this in one of my other videos. Back in those days, you could tell someone like, yeah, you know, my left arm hurt. They're like, oh, we're gonna have to chop it off. Like, why are you inserting things into my eyes like that? Like, I told you I got a medical condition. You just want to shove something in my brain? It's kind of crazy how they think that would work back in the day. It's like I'm saying, like, realistically, how do we know that nowadays half the things that we practice are actually safe? Like, could be like, oh, a couple years from now, like, back then, taking Advil was actually the craziest things they were doing. Like, they'd have no idea how harmful the Advil is. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you never even know.
3 famous songs with terrifying backstories. Snoop Dogg's brother-in-law, Jermaine Fuller, was the singer of Peanut Butter Jelly Time. He died after an 11-hour standoff with police despite Snoop begging him to surrender. 15-year-old Jeremy Dell shot himself in the head in front of an entire class of 30 kids. His classmates felt extremely guilty for not befriending him, and his death inspired the song Jeremy by Pearl Jam. Doc Pomus of the Drifters wrote "Save the Last Dance for Me" because he was in a wheelchair due to polio and wasn't able to dance with his wife. At the wedding, he watched his friends dance with her and went home later to write the song. I've added these songs as well as many others to a playlist, and trust me, it's much different listening when you know the dark truth. New things in a woman on a recent Delta Airlines flight surprised fellow passengers when she began breastfeeding her hairless cat mid-flight. A marijuana shop in Massachusetts just broke the world record for the largest pot brownie, cooking a ginormous 850-pound THC dessert. And judging by the look on these people's faces, that brownie is not the only thing that's baked. Someone just paid $7,753 for school papers graded by Elon Musk himself. And as it turns out, he was a pretty tough grader. New York firefighters have recently rescued a completely naked man who was trapped inside of a theater's bathroom wall. 23-year-old Koshan Dion Baker was just registered as a sex offender and is required to stay 100 yards from all barns and stables. Turns out he'd been sneaking into a local equestrian center and making love to the horses without their consent.
Why horses, dude? What the hell? Nah, that's kind of strange. That dude is strange for that. Why horses?
Weirdest world records that will make your skin crawl. Part 6. Zion Clark was born without legs because of a rare genetic condition and dreams of becoming a multi-time Olympic champion. He recently achieved the record for the fastest man on his hands in the world. Measured at a length of 24 feet, Ayanna Williams has the female record for the longest fingernails on a pair of hands. This video shows 20-year-old Karubal Yilma from Ethiopia performing a unique talent as he attempts to achieve the record for the longest time to spray water from his mouth. He achieved the record spraying water for 56 seconds straight. This clip shows Sultan Kosin from Turkey and Chandra Dongi from Nepal, meeting for the first time in 2014. At the time, Sultan was the tallest man in the world, measuring a staggering 8 feet 2 inches, whereas Chandra was the shortest, measuring just 21.5 inches tall.
Nah, that dude is 8 foot. He had to walk with a cane. That's how you know, man. Apparently people that are actually taller die quicker. The average height or being a little bit shorter is actually better for your overall health. I don't know how you could really support being 8 foot though. That's actually a little bit insane. Get that dude in the NBA, he'd probably score OD. He's like literally 2 feet away from touching, like his head touching the basket. That's insane.
I used to see a bunch of fat, ugly women.
An update about this old man that decided to walk into the school board and let his intrusive thoughts win.
Good evening, cowards. I used to see a bunch of fat, ugly women.
Excuse you!
What?
Can we stick to the agenda?
No. I'm speaking. They're fat, ugly women is what they are. Let's talk about it. You don't have to buy. It's called free speech. Buy.
That's not free speech, that's insulting.
The man named Rich was upset about the book called Boy Toy being allowed in the student library, accusing teachers at the school of ruining kids' minds.
So why, when we have these pathetic people here called teachers, rape children's mind, indoctrinating people? That's why you people don't have the brains to see that this could be hurting children of the future.
Excuse me?
You don't tell me how to speak. Well, shut up and give me my five. Bye, girls.
The Boy Toy book was allowed to stay at the kids' library. But what do you think about this? Was he right?
Very interesting clip we just looked at, but I mean, I wouldn't say he's right or wrong, but I will say that he kind of, because you can say whatever you want at the end of the day, I'm not gonna lie, but he did come in a little bit high. I feel like he should have came in a little bit more respectful and gave his point of view a little bit more masculine, if that makes sense, like being like, excuse me everyone, but like this is my opinion about whatever. He shouldn't have came in just insulting people like, listen, you all are bad, like, you know what I'm saying? Like if he just came in more subtle and like actually, I guess, understanding, I feel like everyone else would have been like, oh yeah, that makes sense, like I get your point of view. Instead of he just came in insulting everyone, just like, take this book down right now. Going about things that way never works, ever. If anything, that makes it worse, because people are like, yo, why should I listen to this bozo? Like, he just insulted me, I'm about to just take it and just be like, okay, I'm just gonna listen to it. Like, nah, never go about things that way. That's the worst thing you could do. But at the end of the day, it is freedom of speech, so you can say whatever you want, but hey man, just know there's consequences.
George Bush doesn't care about black people.
You know we don't have a jacuzzi.
Can you believe that? Can you believe we don't have a jacuzzi?
Kanye, what's the best part about being a dad?
The kids.
I am proud to say that I've taught him, given him like really good financial advice on saving.
You give me some advice, but I don't listen to it.
After 6 years, are you happy to be back and performing tonight? Much anticipated performance with Paul McCartney and Rihanna.
I'm just extremely happy. Can you tell by my face?
Do you feel like your attitude towards women has changed since having daughters?
Nah, I still look at Pornhub and...
We just got this magazine, Bizarre Magazine. There you are with the kids. Oh, they're very, very cute. Climbing on your head. Do you dress them? Do you pick their outfits? Mm-hmm. You do? Is that fun for you? Mm-hmm. Do you design outfits for them? Mm-hmm. You do?
Looked at him, he said, take your hands off your face. I said, look, sir, you're going to have to ask me nicely to take my hands off my face. Please talk to me with some type of respect. And he says, okay, Mr. West, can you please take your hands off your face? And I said, no.
Hey, boy. Hey, boy.
Don't call me boy.
Don't finish. I told you. Oh, don't treat me like a boy then.
I'm not going to say what race, what people, doctor, and what hospital, and what media went to. We know I can't say that. It was a Jewish doctor. Or consider doing this, this recording, like what do you call it? This interview? This interview is because of the movie The Incredibles.
Why?
It starts off with the interviews. The superheroes are giving interviews. The wife got a big butt, and I just see our life becoming more and more and more like The Incredibles until we can finally fly.
I would say you just have to wing it. My sisters and I are on a group chat, always getting parenting advice.
But they don't get advice from me. Can I get on that chat, please?
All right, Kanye, give us 3 things that are hairy.
Balls, balls, balls.
Yeah, name 3 things you do when no one is looking.
Smile.
Kanye West, that's Kanye, bruh. I remember when he was trying to run for presidency back in 2020. I was like, yo, ain't no way. Imagine he did it, though. Imagine Kanye West was president right as we speak instead of Joseph R. Biden. I'm like, damn, Kanye, you moving like that, huh? Nah, man. Gotta love Ye, though, dude. Gotta love Ye. But anyways, if you guys like the video, please like the video. Let's try to hit 500 likes this video. If you like the chain, check the link down in the description. Thank you guys for all the support. If you guys want to be a part of my video, drop this super thanks. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.